Now, what I want to try and do now is I want to try and tease out what an inspector does, and I want to try and separate that out as far as I can from what an advisor might do. There is some overlap between the two roles, but I'm going to try and be really specific. What characterises the inspector's frame of reference is they work with legislative authority. They work to statute. It's the law. They have a specific legislative brief that advisors don't have. They make judgments against a specific framework, and you leave them with a summary of findings. I've cut to the quick, there's some other things, but they're the main ones. When you compare that with an advisor's frame of reference, what we're about and what this organisation is about advisors earning authoritative influence. For those of you who've been to one of our seminars, you've heard me talk about that before. And it is about developing that knowledge and understanding of causation in a school, understanding why the school's performing like it is, because you understand the causes of that performance. And you also understand the school's general capacity for making improvements. And when you've got that deep and substantial knowledge to hand as the advisor, you will have earned authoritative influence to be able to advise the school, to help them shape policy and practice, to help them shape operational activities. But it's not something which is in legislation, and you don't have that legislative authority behind you. You have to earn whatever influence you have in the school. Inevitably it's time limited, but it's not time limited in the way that it is for an inspector working for Ofsted. It can be very short, but actually it can be over a sequence of visits over quite a long and sustained period of time. Depends on what the brief is. So you're seeking to gain authoritative influence, and the feedback is transaction defined. You're not writing a report as an Ofsted inspector would. You're writing a report according to the agreement that you've established with the organisation. Now, I would argue that sitting in the middle of this, whilst the roles are different, there is some overlap in the skill set and the knowledge that advisors and inspectors have. And actually what this organisation was looking for were people who could work across systems, advisors who could work in more than one establishment, strategic support, project management, investigations, training and development, change management, quality management systems, organisational development. There is very little on that slide there that actually overlaps with what Ofsted says it's looking for in its inspectors, or what the Prison Service is looking for in its inspectors, or the Care Quality Commission are looking for in their inspectors. So there's quite a difference here. The certificates this morning are predicated largely on institution-specific work, more like the local authority advert earlier. But also, as you know, we've introduced a system-wide threshold, which actually is senior associate status. So actually, this organisation's trying to bridge what the local authority were looking for, but also what the private provider was looking for as well. So let's come right back to where I started. So we have a very specific brief for Ofsted. We have a much broader brief for advisors, whether you're working in the local authority context or a private independent provider. But where do the skill sets of the two coincide? And I think if we start with this one, whether you work for Ofsted or whether you're an advisor working for a local authority or an independent provider, one of the common generic skill sets has to be around your ability to interrogate performance information, whether that's Key Stage 2, Key Stage 4, Key Stage 5, or whether it's in-year school information. You need to be able to interrogate that, and I would argue to a very deep and substantial level.